Wahome, and welcome to Sports Check on this Monday morning. It is the 27th day of November, 2011. It's a day which I would say is quite busy for us, for our newsroom today, given the number of events that are there. Let's start with one which is going to be graced by His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, which is the Kenya Innovation Week 2023. This event is going to be taking place in South Sea and Nairobi at the Edge Convention Center, and it is dubbed, about the Commonwealth. How do we bring back all of this week? And remember that this is one of the projects that is under the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Digital Economy and Sports. So that is the one live event that we will be taking later, because, looking at the split screen, those are the people who will be attending that event that is happening that's going to be happening rather today, and this is in South Sea, Nairobi. So look out for that event, as we shall be bringing to you the live broadcast of that. Then also we have got the Cabinet Secretary, Rebecca Miano, is meeting with staff at the Kenya School of Government. This is so as to outline, and this is at around noon, to outline what is expected of all those in her ministry. We've got the National DEA-SIP Family Planning Learning Conference. It's happening in Nairobi, and the TVET CDCC handing over. So those are just some of the stories that we shall be following up on. On the sport side, definitely I can inform you that Botswana are here for Wednesday's encounter with the Harambee Starlets, qualifying for the Women's AFCON 2024 that will be hosted in Cote d'Ivoire. It's the first leg of the final round of qualifying. And also remember, we've got the Sekafa Under 18 Boys Championship taking place in Kisumu. Today is a rest day for all the teams, and action resumes tomorrow when Kenya plays Rwanda at noon at the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium in Mamboleo in Kisumu. Now, moving on to our conversations that are on today when it comes to sports. We're going to be talking about netball, and we're talking about the men's netball team and also the women's netball team, who are going to be representing Kenya at the upcoming African Netball Cup that's taking place from tomorrow through to the 6th of December in Botswana. I know you're asking, you said men's netball. Yes, men's netball, it does exist. It's a sport that for a long time was only played by the ladies, but things have changed. There are men who are coaches, and so we're going to be talking about that and understand the team that has been selected, predominantly from Kenya Prisons and Ulinzi, Ganek, and also Kakamega County. So that is going to be the second conversation as we get ready to join the launch of the Innovation Week. But also let's talk about cycling. And we are joined by one of the pro cyclists in Kenya, Ndungu Kia, who is with us in studio. Ndungu, welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right. And you can see he's come with his road bike over here. He's going to be telling us all about it and what it means, and the fact that there is a little sticker somewhere, which is from the global body that governs cycling, the UCI. So he's going to be telling us all about that. As we continue with this conversation, remember to get interactive. Our Twitter handle is at KBC Channel 1. And then our hashtag Sports Check KBC. Our sign language interpreter within these is Lensa Odingo. Now let's start with Ndungu. Thank you for being here with us. First of all, it's a journey for someone to engage in a sport like this, which is one, physically demanding and also calls for time. How did you let's just background this, getting yourself into cycling as a profession?
It started when I was in high school. I was very active in Kenya High School. That's where I studied. And I used to do long distance running, and I would represent Kenya in inter-schools competitions. But I was at day school, so I used to commute with the Black Mamba from home to school.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like...
Okay, just which long distance running, which event were you running?
The marathon, yeah.
No, I mean, we don't have marathons in high school. 5,000, 10,000?
Mainly it was half marathon. That's what the cross-country one. That one I used to love it, and it has a history back still in primary, because I studied in Limuru Model Primary School. So it's been something which is within me, and I knew I'm a sporty person. So after joining high school, doing my commute with my Black Mamba, so I had to remove the back seat, and then when the season in the evening, I put it back, take milk to the dairy, and then go back home. In the morning, I take the seat off, go to school, come back. That's
the carrier seat.
Yes, the back seat, the one now you put the milk in.
Yes.
Yes, so I remove the seat, and then I go with the bike to school, and it grew as a habit, and I fell in love with it. And after high school, I asked myself, where would I want to be? Who will I be in this life? What really makes me happy? And I had two options, either to continue with my studies or pursue my passion. And I decided I'll go with my passion. And I remember my parents were not okay with it for the first time, because it's not something which is common. It's not something which is common. So I told my parents I'm not studying anymore. I want to follow my passion. I want to follow my career, which is cycling, and they were not happy about it. But now, after the results and everything, they are proud of me, and they are proud I made the decisions I made.
Now, let's just take, did they tell you, Ndungo, Edwin, you need to leave home now, or?
No. They didn't chase me away. They were okay with it, but you could see that the vibration which we had and the communication with the parents was not as before, you see. And luckily, I had a chance to go to Eldoret in cycling training camp in 10 in Kenyan Riders. So that's where I stayed for some few years and came back.
Now, just tell me about, moving from Limuru and then going over to E10 to get into the Kenyan Riders camp.
Yes.
What was that experience for you, the moment you got into a proper Riders camp the first time?
The main purpose why I went there is because I was eager. I could see in the internet people riding bikes, doing tricks on the bikes. They had the skill. And the only person who I had at that time was Nelson Kanja. Thanks to him, he supported me with a good bike, and he made sure that I went to Kenyan Riders. And the main purpose was to know how to train, know how to handle bikes, know how to maintain bikes. And I'm happy that Simon Blake, Kelon Fitzpatrick, and Nicholas Leong, and then Nixon Sewe was the mechanic. So he assisted me with the bike maintenance, and the coaches Simon and Kelon taught me on how to train to be a good athlete. Yes.
What's the regime? And by the way, the pictures that you're seeing here are from the Rwanda Epic, where Edwin finished second this month.
Yes,
this month. Oh,
yes.
Earlier this month. So he's going to be telling us about that later. But just take us through the training regime and what is so different because from what you knew in Limuru and what you found in E10.
So one of the basic things is that when I was in home, I used to train every day hard. I used to go every day hard. And when I joined the Kenyan Riders team, I found that there is a strategy, there is a way that you're supposed to train. For example, in a week, you train 6 days in a week. You don't go hard all the 6 days. You have 2 days rest, and then the rest you divide into a long ride and intervals. And you do weights. Back at home, I never do weights. Yeah, you might wonder, I'm this slim, but the weights I'll do are mainly for the lower body, for my quads, my hamstrings. That is what we do on the gym. And it's not to be bulk, but to be lean and powerful. Yes.
So what was your experience then when you had to be told, let's get down and do weights?
I was okay. I had made a decision when I went to Kenyan Riders. I was willing to go to the extreme. Whatever it will take for me to be the best, I was willing for it. So we went for the gym. It was hard for me because I never knew all these activities like lunges, deadlifts, squats, front squats. So it took time for me to adapt, and when I adapted, it was perfect.
Now, what about what you call the long rides? And because most people have seen long runs, we know about Kenya's marathoners. We know there are days when they take those long runs and the interval hours. Now, put it into the cycling context, what you mentioned.
So for the long ride, mainly I normally do one long ride per week, plus it will depend the race that I'm preparing for. If there is no big event I'm preparing for, one long ride is okay, which varies from 4 hours to 6 hours.
Non-stop?
Yeah, the only thing you will stop is to refill your water or to get something to eat, but mainly we are all full sorted. And sometimes you have a support person, like in Kenyan riders, we had Patrick, who used to come with the border behind us and supply whatever we needed.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next thing is the interval day. The interval days, you find that there are also several types of intervals. There is a VO2 interval. VO2 means the power that the amount of oxygen your lungs can hold and supply to the body. And that one you do intervals of 6 to 12 minutes. You rest 4 to 2 minutes. You do it 3 times to 5 times. And then there is a short interval of 15 to 50 seconds. And then you recover 1 minute. You do it 5 times, 2 sets. So it all depends on the race that you're preparing for. Yes.
Okay, we'll be coming to that so that you tell us about how you prepare for those intervals. Nongoke is a professional cyclist, so talking about the intervals, and you see there's time trial, there's a road race, there's mountain biking, so he's going to tell us how each one of them works and what kind of toll it takes on your body. But right now, we have got the Kenya Innovation Week, and it's being launched today at the Edge Convention Center in South Sea. And right now, we move over to Alan Naoko, who is at the convention center. Alan, you could give us a brief on this event.
Yes, Wahome, I don't know, when I talk about innovation, what comes to mind? Innovation is something that has been heralded as the future of this country. And here and today, we are at the Kenya Innovation Week, and we are here with a lot of delegates just coming in at the Edge Convention Center in Nairobi. We are holding the 2023 Kenya Innovation Week. The difference between the 2023 Innovation Week and the Innovation Week of the yesteryears is that this one is the Commonwealth edition. We are about to see other countries in the Commonwealth participating in this particular event. We have seen also in the premises here, we have seen exhibitions of innovation, different solutions in e-mobility, for example, different solutions in financial services, financial digital services, and also the food sector. We are big on agriculture and agri-tech. That is also here. And remember, this is innovation, which means every solution that comes out of this convention is of innovation. Just to give you a bit of a background of what is about to happen here today, and going forward, of course, in the days to come, is that we will have Commonwealth leaders. We'll also have government officials and business and academic representatives just coming to this forum and looking at the Secretariat of the Commonwealth, led by the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Patricia Scotland. This is a huge event, and as we were coming in, we did see a lot of diplomatic presence here just to look at exactly what is going to happen in this 5-day event. And also, not to forget, we will have included in this Innovation Week some thematic summits on the sidelines, of course. We will have panel discussions, keynote addresses, fireside chats. And by the way, these kind of forums are the ones that bring out money to startups, which really target this kind of forums to look for money and capital. Remember, Kenya is one of those leading countries in Africa and in the world in attracting investments into startups that come to solve problems that are plaguing our nation and our continent. We will have some activities including ministerial roundtables and discussions of science, and technology, as well as participation from the Commonwealth Youth Council. But as the music still continues to play on here, I just wanted you to maybe, maybe if you come back to us, maybe the music will have died down a bit because it's quite loud. I can barely hear myself, but I hope you're hearing me well. This platform, the Kenya Innovative Week, Kenya Innovation Week platform is one that, causes the development of innovation around the country. We have seen even delegates from all over the country, from far-flung areas, despite the traveling challenges in weather, they are here. And they're looking for partnership, they're looking for collaborations as we go forward. We do expect President William Ruto to be here to give his keynote address and to officially launch this particular Innovation Week. And we have seen the protocol is ready, people are just coming in, registration is ongoing, but we will get back to you soon as the President is here so that you also catch the speeches and what goes ahead. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Alan Aoko, he's at the Edge Convention Center in South Sea, where we've got the Kenya Innovation Week that is taking place today. And the theme and this is the Commonwealth edition. It's been jointly organized by the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Creative Economy and Sport, the Commonwealth, and also the Kenya Innovation Agency. The theme is innovating to unlock our Commonwealth. His Excellency the President is expected to give to officially open this event, and we are going to be live with that event once the President gets to South Sea. Right, so now we continue with our conversation, and this is purely about sport, and we're talking about pro cycling. We're with Ndongo Care, who is a professional cyclist, and he's just been taking us through the everyday life of a cyclist. For him, having finished second at the Rwanda Epic this year, and this was an event which was on a team basis. His teammate would have liked to be here, Bobby, but that's not the case. So here let me come to you, Ndongo, because as you tell us, about training every day. You told us about intervals that you do depending on the events. Now take us through the cycling events. Let's start with mountain biking. How do you go through this?
So first of all, to be clearly the type of disciplines I do, cycling mainly people think it's one sport in general, but it is divided into very many disciplines. One of all, you have mountain bike, and mountain bike itself, it has 3 more classes inside itself. We have downhill, we have enduro, we have cross-country, we have cross-country Olympics. When you go to road cycling, you have...
Okay, let's start with mountain biking.
Okay.
Then, so you've mentioned 4 of them.
Yes.
So, first of all, is downhill.
Yes.
You just explain that. For example, the pictures that we're seeing here of the Rwanda Epic, that would be cross-country.
Yes, that is a cross-country marathon. And in the Rwanda Epic, we had 2 stages in cross-country Olympic. Cross-country Olympic is a short circuit, mainly 3.5 kilometers or more.
Wow.
And then you go round it several times. It might be 8 laps, 7 laps, and you get the fastest to do that. The challenging part about this short distance, it's very, very technical. Very technical. I remember when I was in Scotland this year doing the World Champs, there was a gap jump of about 2 meters, and you have to fly over. And for me, those things, they are not here in Kenya.
So what do they give you a ramp?
Yeah, there is a ramp for takeoff, which is not wooden. It's just natural, and then they manicure it, and then there's a big jump over there, and then you have to go over it. And it's frightening for the first time.
So what was it like for you, by the way, when you do that?
For me, I didn't do it. So there's always an option. There's always the first option, and the B option, and the C option.
Okay, okay, now you're getting deeper. What's the A option?
The A option is the hardest part, like that jump, doing over that jump. And then the B is hard, but not as risky as the A one. And then you have the C, which is rollable by everyone. And I thank the UCI for putting into consideration not everybody can do all those obstacles. Yeah.
But 2 meters, okay, let me just put it into context what 2 meters is. Think of the standard door in your house. The standard door in your house, and look at the height of that door.
Yeah.
That is what we'll be talking as 2 meters.
Yeah.
So, truly, because I'm looking at one of the doors in the studios here, and I can really see it's quite some distance.
Yeah.
So, you've mentioned that. There is, then just tell us more about downhill.
So, downhill is a race of speed. As it says, downhill. Mainly they are taken up a hill, and then it's divided into segments, and then your time is taken from point A to point B, how fast you can descend. So that one is mainly on speed, and mostly they wear full helmet, full face helmet, they wear guards, knee guards, shin guards and everything, and they check how fast you can go down the hill. Yeah. And
because I've seen downhill competitions, I can see that there is always, you'll find that there are places where when they set this track, you have to actually
take off, yeah.
Take off,
yes.
And land.
Yes, you have to take off. So you must be aware of all these techniques. Yes.
And when you're doing now the intervals for mountain biking, how do you go through them? Because you mentioned that these intervals are different.
Yeah, so on a mountain bike, you do it on an off-road. The same terrain you are prepared, like for when I was preparing for Rwanda, I had to take my mountain bike off to imitate what I'll go and find in Rwanda. And it was raining here, and in Rwanda it was raining. I would wake up despite the rain, still train together with Bobby on the terrain that we will find there in Rwanda. Because I have this question, people always ask me, why are you riding when it's raining? And I'm like, in the competition, there won't be like, whoever trained when it's raining and not raining, they have this margin of gains. No. It's all about the discipline and the consistency. So I had to train on the rainy days to perfect on that skill.
Well, and talking about training on rainy days, just look at the pictures on your screen, and that is the terrain he had to cycle in when doing the Rwanda Epic. Those were the conditions.
Yes. Yes, and for me and my partner, we were flying. Like, we are enjoying this because you are used to. You're not afraid of the rain. You're not afraid of the slippery sections. Yeah.
Well, actually, and finishing second, because this was your most recent cross-country event, finishing second with Bobby Joseph. You are the duo, you are known as Team 48.
Yes.
How was that name picked first?
It was Team 48, like they decided to put that, but the main guys behind the Rwandan Epic were Giant Kenya, which supported with the flights and everything. My partner Bobby was riding a Giant bike, and I was riding a Trek bike. And the guys behind me were Mizuno and Yokora Sports, who assisted me with everything. And the kits, like the kit I'm wearing, it's from Verocchio Apparel. So it's been a collaboration of well-wishers pushing us and giving us the support. And I can say it was a good success.
All right. Yes, they finished second behind Daniel Gathoff and Bart Klaasens. They are from Germany. And just taking a look at the time difference here, 57 minutes. Those guys must have been flying.
Yeah. Like Daniel he's been in the industry for long. He's been professional for many years. He has the skill set. He has everything he needs, and that is where we're getting. And so far, it was a big achievement for me, and I'm happy we made it through.
Okay, so that's mountain biking, and so there's basically, you mentioned downhill, there's cross country, which is very much like this. There's cross country Olympics,
yes,
which is where you go around the circuit.
Yes.
The other one you mentioned is enduro.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Enduro is a part similar to downhill, but enduro doesn't have the crazy jumps that you see. Enduro is more about the speed and the technicality on the corners and the rocky places. And here in Kenya, we have a guy called Ian. I can say he's one of the Kenyans who is doing well in that sector, and he's pushing it, and there are downhill events happening in Kijabi, in Ngong, and they're doing well.
Well, there you've had it. Now, the other one I want to come into is road cycling. Just tell us about that.
So road cycling also is divided into several parts, but mainly we have road cycling, and then we have the time trial cycling. So road cycling is you are all released all at once, and then whoever finishes the line first is the winner. And it's different to time trial. Time trial is checked by how fast can you go from point A to point B. And I can say I've been more successful in the time trial than in the road bike. I have won several races here in Kenya. We have one in Southern Bypass, that road. We have some in the tea plantation in Rimuru, Kiambu, Sasini, and it's been a success. So the difference between road and time trial is, time trial you have to, it's a race against time. Its main hard part is your threshold of pain endurance, because it's very painful. And when it pains, I've had so many conversations with people, they let go. And for me, the trick is when it pains, just hold it, just hang in there. And I think that's how I've been successful in the time trial.
And we've seen these indoor events, cycling
Yes.
indoors.
Yes.
Just tell us about those.
So it's like an arena, and it's called a velodrome.
Yes, the velodrome.
So in that velodrome, they ride with bikes similar to a road bike, but they don't have gears. It's called a fixie. It has one big cock on the front and a small one at the back, and doesn't have brakes. And you can't free pedal. You always have to pedal forward. And we have different type of races. We have a race where you race as many people, just like a road race, and you have a race where you are checked how fast can you go, or how many laps can you do in a certain period of time.
Well, you've mentioned about bicycles, and he's got he's got a bicycle here, and maybe Brian, maybe we could just move forward so that we're able to see the bicycle and the equipment that he uses, and we can actually now take a look at it, in simple terms, and you can take us through, first of all, your equipment.
Yes.
Let's start from the top.
Yeah, so you always, rule number one, you always wear a helmet whenever you are out on a bike. The second one, I always love to wear my sunglasses. So the helmet, glasses, come to the cycling kit, which mainly they are tight because of aerodynamics, not to get wind resistance. Then you have your cycling shorts, and then the shoes.
Actually, let's take a look at the shoes so that we understand them.
So the shoes are quite different from the normal shoes. The shoes I have, they have this, a clip, which is attached to the pedal here. Let me just show you. So you just clip in, and you are one with your bike. So this helps whenever you want to bunny hop. It gives efficiency when you're pedaling your bike. So you and your bike, you are mainly one thing. So from there,
you've used a term, bunny hop. What is that?
Bunny hop is when you have like a ditch, or you see in Kenya we have so many rambo strips, like 3 rambo strips or 4.
Also where you're not on the seat.
Yeah, no, like the Rambos, what you do, you move from your seat, you come here, and then your bike, you just hop your bike, like as you hop the bike over the Rambos, or there is a pothole on the road.
Yes.
You just bunny hop it.
Also you jump.
Yes, it's sort of you jump it.
Okay.
Yes.
Very well. Now this is a road bike.
Yes.
And each of these, just take us through each of these and how each functions now.
So we can start with this one. So this is more of my dashboard. This indicates to me the speed I'm going. If I'm going somewhere I don't know, I'll put the map here and it will direct to me where I need to go. This is my Garmin computer. It also indicates my heart rate. If we also train via our heart rate monitors, and it's synced to...
How do you sync it then?
we wear a strap, which is we wear here. It's the same strap that runners wear, and then it can indicate to your Garmin, and you can know how fast you're going according to your heart rate and your maximum heart rate. You're able to calculate the numbers and know how to go about it.
Good. The rest of it, and the cogs and the tires, and how you use them. For example, you were racing with this in Nairobi.
Yeah, this is the bike I was racing yesterday with it at Grand Nairobi. So the tires are Victoria, and they are tubeless, and this bike is carbon. Also the wheels, they are carbon. Mainly everything is carbon apart from these small nuts over here.
Basically, it's the chain.
Yeah,
and everything else, but everything else is carbon fiber.
Yeah, it's a very light bike. So now we come here. This is the front crank, and it has a power meter, and this is a 44 tooth crank. So it has a power meter which is signed to my Garmin over here, so I can see how much power I'm producing. Then you come to the Lear shifter derailleur. It's electronic. This is the new version, so it doesn't have any cables.
So it's not what we are used to, flipping.
No. It's so you just a tap of a button here, and you see this light over here. It blinks, and that's how you shift. This battery is removable. This is what you go and charge, and it goes for miles and miles before it goes low. Plus, if it goes low, it shows you on your Garmin it's low.
So basically the entire bicycle is connected to
my Garmin.
To your Garmin, which is your dashboard.
Yes.
Very well. And there's if this is a road bike, I mean, let me think of Tour de France.
Yes.
You would use this.
A similar bike would do. Thin tires, crank would be bigger, the crank would be 2. This one, this is one set, and there's always one with has 2 by. We call it 2 by, so this is a 1 by. Yeah. And now we have the seat. This is a 3D print, and it's from Physique, and so far it's a very good seat, and yeah.
All right. Now, mountain bikes.
Yes.
If you are just to demonstrate, they have shock absorbers.
Yes. So for the mountain bike, we have a hardtail and a soft tail. A hardtail, it has only one suspension at the front, and it is the typical bike I was using in Rwanda. And a soft tail has 2 suspensions, one on the front and another one at the back. The main purpose of a hardtail is to do cross country where there is no obstacles like rock garden. You don't have to do crazy jumps. When you have to do rock garden and the terrain is very technical, that's when now you have to do with a soft tail, the one which has 2 suspensions. Yes. That's the only difference between this bike and a mountain bike. Plus now the aerodynamics and everything. And the brakes, you can see it has a disc, so for efficiency and everything, you are sure no matter how much speed you're carrying, your brakes are good to go.
So it's not like the others which are usually...
No, the rubber one.
The rubber one.
No.
Like the Black Mamba you started with.
Yes. So this is the new evolution, and the disc is good, and they are always efficient.
Well, very well. So we can place it there and get back. So there, you've had a full demonstration of a competition bicycle, and now let's get back, continue with this conversation. Ndongo, you basically have got experience, representing the country, and at different levels. And let's start with your first entry. Into competition. It was Morocco.
Yes.
2019.
Yes.
The African Games.
Yes.
And you were doing the road running.
I was doing mountain bike.
Yes. Just give us your experience there. Getting called up first to the national team.
So how I managed to get called the national teams is they had scouts who would go to these events, the local events. They see how people are racing, how well disciplined you are, how good are you at communicating, how well focused are you, how well disciplined are you, how well ambitious are you, And I was hungry. I needed that exposure because I knew what I wanted. And I believe in one thing, that where I am now and the situation I'm going through now, it's all because of me. And where I will be the next few years, either good or bad, it's all about me. I made these decisions years back. So it was not a surprise when I got selected. I knew the path because I created it. And
how many years did it take you to get called up?
Oh,
this is 2019 February, so which means the call-ups were done late 2018.
Yes.
And you left high school in which year?
2015 is when I finished high school. Yeah.
So 2016, 3 hard years.
Yes, 3 hard years. Day in, day out, rain or shine, I had to be on my bike. And that's when I got the recognition of joining the national team. And I went to Morocco and I did the event. It didn't go as I had planned because it was challenging. It was my first big exposure. But I had the experience and I knew now it was all upon me to go back, train hard, and keep polishing myself and come back stronger.
What are the key things, what are the key lessons for you in Morocco at the African Games?
The key lessons was mainly you have to prepare early in advance. You have to well equipped, well knowledgeable of all these things. Plus I knew one thing which I didn't have at that time. In sports, it takes time. All I knew I had to do is be patient, be consistent, do the things I know I'm supposed to do, and within time, you get there. There is no way you can give birth to a child today and you can expect the child to start working tomorrow. I was new in the industry, you see. Right now, it's been almost 8 years down the line, and you see now it's when it's starting to pay. Like in sports, it takes time. It takes time. So I knew one thing, learn these things. If you make as many mistakes as you can for the first few years, learn from them. And then when your time comes, you'll be okay and you'll start seeing the fruits of your hard work and effort.
Now, let's also talk about other experiences with the national team.
Yes.
Let's go to last year in Birmingham.
Yeah. So last year I did the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, and they were okay. And there is something I'm campaigning on the cycling we have here in Kenya. And so far we are headed to the right direction. The terrain that you find in these big international events is totally different to what we find here in Kenya. You see, there I did the XCO. It's a short track, the one I said, with so many challenges. We had a place where we had a vertical, a purely vertical, all was stones. Your bike has to go vertical, you see. And if you're not courageous and you don't know how to handle your bike at this type of terrain, which was rocky and everything, and the place was very narrow, you get a shock. Your body will go on a shock. I'm grateful I managed to go over it, and now we are pushing that we start having these things and the races that are in Kenya to imitate what we have in the outside the international event. So when guys like me and the next generation participate in this event, they won't go through the same shock I went through.
Okay, just explain that circuit in Birmingham so that people can understand. Because when you talk about a vertical and how you basically balance your body, because we have normally, I mean, everyday cyclists.
Yes.
When it gets to that, because of a tendency to lean forward, you find yourself
you're down.
Rolling.
Yes. So rule number 1, which is always there, and I was taught by my coach Simon, always look where you want to go, and you go where you look. That's rule number 1.
Look where you want to go,
and you go where you look.
Where you look.
For example, and you can put this, either it's a motorbike you ride or it's a car you're driving. If you look at a certain object, you always hit at that object because that's where you are looking at. So in mountain bike, you have trees, you have rocks, you have all these obstacles. So you always look where you want to go. On that vertical rocky place, the trick you have to do is you lean back a little bit. You pull yourself back a bit. The second thing, if you are to use your brakes, you touch it 1%. The rest of it, you concentrate the tension on your back brake. Because if it skids, it's okay. But when your front wheel skids, you're gone.
You're flipped.
Yeah, you're flipped. So you put your weight a little bit back, you look where you go, and don't stiffen yourself. Just be calm, look where you go, have confidence on your bike, and you just go.
Well, now looking at what's been happening is that this is a career path that you've taken.
Yes.
The biggest cycling name we can mention to have come through the Kenyan system, actually won a bronze in 2007 at the African Games, Chris Froome.
Yes.
What are the opportunities now that are there for you as a pro athlete in cycling?
I can say for the past 5 years, cycling was not that okay, but now we are spoiled for choice. Like there is a camp or there is an international team called Team Amani, which has been here now for, this is the 3rd year, and they have a team where they have guys who ride internationally, and Sule, Mikel were one of the founders of it, and Sule passed on when he was racing in US.
Yes, it was sad.
Yeah, it was a sad situation, but we keep his legacy on, and the best thing we can honor him is by keeping riding and being the best we can on the bike, because that is what he wanted us, and that is why he was creating all these opportunities for us to be at the best and to showcase that in Kenya there is a talent which is not yet recognized, and that is cycling. And the best thing we can do of it is keep riding. So we have Team Amani, we have Ineos, they have a camp in 10. Loop, they'll be organizing a series of events which...
Let's talk about Ineos, because that is Froome's team. He's been with Ineos.
Yeah, he's been with Ineos.
Yes.
And they have a camp in Kaptagat. And the guy who won yesterday's race is from there. And it's doing a very good job.
Because you mentioned Kaptagat, and you know, Eliud Kipchoge is also trains at Kaptagat.
Yes.
So they're basically neighbors.
Yes. They're in the same compound. Yes.
Wow. That's a story that Patrick Sang will have to tell me one time about having introduced that biking camp there. And what are you seeing from these teams that are here?
People who are focused and they know what they want in life, the chance is there. It's just give them the opportunity. We are giving now it's all now upon us as riders, us as Kenyan riders, to showcase that we are worth it. Because the opportunities are there, everything is there. Like this bike, it's a test of the new next year's edition. The bike is from Team Amani, which all goes well, I'll be looking forward to join them next year. So it's all upon us as cyclists. If you're disciplined, if you're consistent, if you know what you want in life, and if you have committed your life to cycling, the opportunity is there.
Well, interesting. I've just noticed something on this bicycle.
Yes.
This is a test for next year.
Yes.
So ideally you're testing equipment.
Yes.
Competition equipment.
Yeah.
So it's not in the market.
No.
Very interesting. We have the prototype, but there's something you've written there, Captain, Friend, Brother.
Yeah.
Sule.
Yes.
Thank you. It's very, very encouraging that you have done that.
Yeah.
So ideally now, when this is out, what's the feedback you're giving? Because you're the equivalent, it's what somebody would call a test driver now.
Yes. It's a test driver, and so far, I like it. It's a frame size 56. Mainly, I'm a tall person. Mainly, I would do 58, but I love a lesser bike by one frame because of the handling, the cornering, and I feel more comfortable and more faster on a smaller frame. So on this bike, we have the custom seat. And then now, because everybody has different geometries and everything, that's why I have this bike to test on the handlebar, the crank strength, the seat, which type of seat I want. And then I write down and I give the report on what I want to do and what bike I would prefer to use next year and what components I would prefer on my bike.
Wow, quite interesting. And from the feel of Nairobi's roads, just taking a look at this bicycle that is on display now, what is it that you feel that could be improved could be tweaked eventually?
Because the first phase of these bikes, we had the guys who joined the team earlier, Jordan Shrek, Kenneth Karaya, Jeffrey Rangat. They had a test of these bikes, and when they came first, they were not hardened for the Kenyan roads. So they produced the second and third version of them, which is more hardened, and it's capable of handling the Kenyan roads. So it's a perfect bike, perfect for the Kenyan roads.
Wow. Now, Bobby, I think after you came back from Rwanda, Bobby went out.
Yeah.
What are the racing opportunities out there for Kenyans?
Bobby went out, and courtesy of Giants, they sponsored him, and he went there and did the world championship in elimination race, and he had a good experience, and that is what I always look for and advise people to go. If you get a chance, go there, give your best, come, learn, polish yourself from that, and if you know what you want, you get the results. Like the results from Rwanda, I wouldn't have had the results from Rwanda if it was not for the help of the Kenyan Cycling Federation, the trust they had in me, the exposure they gave me, and still the consistency I had for myself and everything, and help from my family and friends, which made it possible. Yeah.
We are headed into an Olympic year.
Yep.
Just tell us, what opportunities are there for someone to break through this, because we know competition to making the cut for the Olympics and knowing the names that show up at these events. The people who are doing the Giro d'Italia, the Vuelta, there are those who are doing the Tour de France. What's required?
So for cycling to qualify for the Olympics, you need to gather UCI points. So UCI is Union of Cycling International. That's the body that governs cycling the whole world. So they have their races, which when you go to a certain race, you gather points. When you win a race, you gather points. When you win a championship, you gather points. So those points accumulate within the year of one Olympic to the other. And whoever have certain higher points gets the chance to qualify to the Olympics. We're happy that a lady will be representing Kenya in the Olympics, who is a mountain biker. We went with her in Glasgow and Scotland, so I wish her all the best. Is Nancy Akinyi. Yeah, so I wish her all the best, and it's doable. She has proven to us that it's doable. Yeah.
So to get onto the UCI circuit, just what is required of you? Because the competition there is brutal. I have seen those competitions, and they are very, very tough.
Yeah, so it all comes to a good platform. And this is where the corporates should turn into cycling, give us the support and the help. And we are grateful for all the corporates who have always stuck with us and made us who we are today, because if it was not for them, we wouldn't be here. And also for the race organizers, thank you so much for everything you've always been doing for us. We need a good platform where it's established that the races out there, like in South Africa, we have so many races, UCI races. So we can send 2-3 people there to South Africa. They race there, they accumulate the points. They go maybe to Namibia, there is a race there, which is UCI approved. They go, they race there. That's how you accumulate races in mountain bike. Also on the road race, that's how you accumulate. You need to participate in these global events, these global races, like a tour in Ethiopia, like Rwanda, race around Rwanda, and other races in Africa, out of Africa. That's how you gather points. And at the end of the 4 years, 3 years, they accumulate. Whoever hits the margin qualifies for the Olympic.
Let's talk about the cycling scene in Africa, because we've seen it. And Eritrea produces some of the best cyclists.
Yeah.
It is said that the only Eritrean athletes who don't disappear are athletics and cyclists.
Yes.
Footballers have got, it's another story. Yeah. It's a story for another day. Yeah. But what makes Eritrea that good in this sport?
It's the cooperation, and the corporations there, they help the cycling. They are big races They are always racing. These guys have the opportunity also to go abroad and do races there. So it's just the exposure, you see, and that is what we've always been fighting for. And I'm grateful also for the Cycling Federation, because I'm a qualified UCI coach, and I'm grateful for them because they're giving opportunities to everyone who wants to go through this education, so that we'll be the mentors of the next generation. And it's a program which is running very well, and I'm grateful for them.
Getting that badge, what's required of you so that if you're a UCI certified coach?
You need to go to class. You need to go to class and study.
So listen, when did you?
Yeah, I said, yeah.
You don't want to go to. I mean, eventually, if you're going to become a coach, eventually you end up in class.
Yeah, I already went back to
Not the academic.
Class. Yeah,
path,
but I said, what I didn't say that I would never go to school. I said between cycling and going to campus and everything, right now I prioritize on my bike. But if I need to go to class, I do go to class and I study, and I love studying. I also study books. I do all those stuffs, and I love learning and challenging myself. Yeah.
Just take us through the qualification levels and what pathways are required for you. Because, for example, in football they say when you get your CAF D license, for example, in Kenya, you must coach at a particular level, and then you're qualified now to get your C license, which means by the time you get your B license, then you are probably able to coach at the top division in the country.
Yeah.
For you to coach a team in Africa, you need the A license. A license or the pro license.
Yeah.
How is this graduated?
It's the same. It's the same case also in cycling. You have the level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 1, you're introduced to what training, what coaching and tries off, what you're supposed to do in level 1, what you're not supposed to do. And mainly this is comprises of the entry level, like someone who doesn't know how to ride, they want to come into cycling, how to handle them on the bike, how to maintain your bike, all these things. And then you move on to level 2, level 3. So it goes higher. And the good thing with the UCI license, you can be able to work in any country as long as you are certified for that. Yes.
Which license do you have at the moment?
I am qualified for level 1, which is the introduction to bike, how to maintain bikes, and how to show someone how to ride a bike.
Well, now, bicycle maintenance, because that's something that, I mean, there are those people have got bicycles, we will go to the fundi, the repair technician.
Yeah.
What are the things that everyone must keep checking on a bicycle?
Bikes are very easy to maintain, but they're also very hard if you put it hard. Number one thing you need to always check on your bike is your tire pressure. A must. Before a ride, tire pressure. The other thing is your chain. You have to wipe your chain and put a new lube on your chain. And you do an M check. I normally call it an M check, is to ensure that every part of your bike is tight enough. That's it.
Okay. Why do you call it M check?
Because it's so you can come from the frame, an M. It's like an M, you see?
So you start with the spokes.
You start with
the hub.
Yes, at the hub. You come up here.
Yes.
And then you go down to the
front,
to the crank where you pedal.
Yes.
And then you come up to the seat, and then you finish with the derail over there. So it's called an M check. Yes. And then now when it comes to maybe you need to change your chain, you need to change your derailleur, you need to change your hub. Mainly I use one person to fix my bike, and that's my previous bike, the one I went to with it in Rwanda. It's with Bicycle Garage. Nixon Sewe is the person who fixes my bike. He knows how I would like my bike to be tuned, and they do a good job, and thanks you to Bicycle Garage for the good job that they always do.
Good. There are people who like their cars tuned. I know with the modern cars, not much of that happens. But for those who've had the older cars, how do you like your bikes? For example, if it's the release right at the back or the crank up there, how do you prefer it set?
I prefer it not too low. Like I have certain millimeters I like my crank length to be, and that is what he knows I like it to be. Secondly, my indexing is how my gear shifts. I prefer my right hand side to be the gear to go down, and my left hand side is I shift my gear up. That is my test. The other thing, the tire pressure. I'm a little bit heavy, so mainly I can use 85 to 100 psi.
Hey, where? See, people are moving around here in cars that are doing 35. So this is inflated to...
Right now it's under 80 because yesterday it was raining. It's 80, so I needed my tire to be a little bit gelish so that I would have traction on the wet surface. Yes.
Another of your passions, motorcycles and horses.
Yeah.
First, let's talk about two wheels.
Yes.
Motorcycles. What?
I'm a two-wheel obsessed guy. I love two wheels, and the thing I love is, I don't know why, but I love two wheels. Mainly my favorite one is the GS. They released a new edition which is 1300cc, and that bike is dope. So that's then my target.
That is now that is real biking, a full powerful.
Yes, now it's a machine. Now this one I don't have to pedal. Now that one is I sit on it and I control. Yes.
How did you pick up this?
It's okay. People I've met with people who tell me, Kia, you're so lucky you found your passions, your everything. I found them because I was looking for them. I did very many things and I didn't like them, and I did things that I eventually ended up liking. So the people say like, oh, I don't know my profession, I don't know my career, I don't know what makes me happy and everything. Try different things, open up, and then you'll settle with a few things that you know whenever you do them, you're always happy.
Good. Horse riding.
Yes. That's the favorite one.
Before this?
Like this is my profession now.
This is your job.
Now if like, let's say now, because yesterday was my last race of the year, I need now to go off season, clear everything, chill a bit with family and everything, and do activities that I sacrifice not to do so that I have good performance on my bike. Horse riding is the one I do mainly.
How did you pick up that? Because so many people would wish to ride horses.
Yeah. And one thing that came with horse riding is I'm a fan of animals. I love animals, and I love that connection with me and the horse, the direction, the everything, the union which is there. I love that.
Well, very interesting. From somebody who would just place the back seat, the carrier seat of a black mamba, rides that black mamba with milk on it, and is now a professional cyclist. Kea Ndongo.
Yes.
Pleasure being with you.
Yes.
All the best as you get into the year 2024. It's an Olympic year, and I hope it will be better for you. Thank you for being with us. I know you're headed down to go ride horses.
Yeah.
After riding this all the way to Limuru.
No, I will just find a car back home because I'm not riding anymore. I need to go for season. Yeah, and as we end, I would like to say to everyone out there, either you are young or whatever you're doing, you are the one. You don't look for problems outside or solution outside. You're the only solution to yourself. You're the only one who can make yourself move to the next level. If I made it and I had nothing, you can also make it. And thank you so much for having me, and we're looking forward to a bigger year next year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, and we'll need to get in touch with Akinyi.
Yes.
As she goes to fly the country's flag.
Okay.
So you know how we'll communicate. Thank you very much. Kiandongo, who's a pro cyclist, taking us through everything, and you can tell his passion and the discipline, and also helping us explain the kind of equipment that he uses, which is the bicycle that we have got right here. He was using this at the Grand Nairobi race yesterday. We take a short break. When we come back, let's talk netball, women's and men's netball.
From the dawn of independence to the present day, Kenya has journeyed with strength and determination. We celebrate Kenya at 60. As we mark this incredible milestone, KBC and Jamboree present an unforgettable celebration of culture, music, and awareness. Immerse yourself in a musical journey featuring global sensations like the mighty Itolls and Everton Blender, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, along with our incredible homegrown artists. But it's not just about the music. Join us for a day of cancer awareness with free cancer screenings. In addition, we will have a fun-filled family day, including horse riding, bouncing castles for the kids, and a special tree planting exercise. Save the dates as we tour a county near you. Ticket information is available on our social media handles at Jamboree Festival KRE. Join the celebration, feel the rhythm, and make memories that will last a lifetime. Happy birthday, Kenya.
Itakuaje? Oya.
Auntie akona ka forehead. Akona the mark of quality.
Nataka kumaliza mambo hiyo wedding.
Kwanza kiukia kitu kia Beatrix sana. Rosi pole.
Umenimaliza kama chai kwa kikombe.
Mezi zote zimebaki December, September, October. Wanaona, anoma hizo wala.
Ni kama tu nikuje nikwambie uko na kichwa kubwa. Sasa makosa si
au sio? Ndio manake. Okay.
Every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Here comes trouble, here comes the danger, sent by the Savior, welcome the Rasta youth. Oh, think twice, it's just another day for you and me in Kingston Town. You don't call anymore, 'cause I'm still thinking about you. Have you found somebody new?
The stage is set for a showcase of young talents as Kenya hosts the Sekafa Under-18 Championship from the 25th of November to 8th of December in Kisumu and Kakamega. Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, Somalia, Zanzibar, South Sudan and Uganda are battling for the title in the two-week tournament. The group phase matches are scheduled 25th of November to 1st of December. Then the semi-finals will be played on 5th of December and the final on 8th of December, all in Kisumu. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
And welcome back to Sports Check on this Monday morning. Very good day. My name is Wahome, and it is a day when we've got the launch of the Kenya Innovation Week. This is happening at the Edge Convention Center in South Sea, Nairobi. His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, is expected to be officially opening that event, and this is the Commonwealth edition. Basically, can we innovate and make the most of our Commonwealth? That is the theme that we have here. Alana Oko is our reporter there, and also he shall be joining them once the President arrives at South Sea for the official launch of that event. We have got the TVET Curriculum Development Assessment Council handing over So this is happening, this was taking place today. Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu at the CDACC offices, which is the Curriculum Development Assessment Council. So they are going to be, that handing over was there. And there's also the National DESIP Family Planning and Learning Conference that was happening there. And Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miano meeting with all key staff in her ministry today. And also, remember, building up to 2 events, Kenya versus Rwanda. Tomorrow at noon, it's going to be live on KBC Channel 1. It's the CECAFA Under 18 Boys Championship. And also on Wednesday afternoon, know that the Harambee Starlets are playing. So those are some of the stories that we shall be having for you. And to add on to that, we are also keeping up with all the parliamentary committee meetings that are happening. So we will be getting a brief from Kevin Washura and his team once that comes through. So much happening with the Senate Industrialization Committee, which is visiting the Kenya National Trading Corporation. And also there is a meeting with the Council of Governors. So all of this happening there, and our parliamentary team will be briefing us on all of these events as they are going on. So stay tuned with us. Our hashtag is #SportCheckKBC on X. We are at KBC Channel 1. Our sign language interpreter within this hour is Anne Wangeshi. Well, let's get into a second conversation today. And it's a sport that people will ask, what's going on here? Wahome, what are you doing? Because you've always associated this sport with women. For the longest time, it was associated with women. We're talking about netball. And this is a sport where we've seen Kenya go out there and play. And already a team has been selected for the African Netball Cup that's taking place from tomorrow, actually, till the 6th of December. The Kenyan team travels tonight. And in studio on my immediate left, team manager, Samuel Angasa. Karibu.
Thank you, sir.
And also, we have got the assistant captain of the men's team, Kizito Waswa.
Yes, sir.
Now, Kizito, just tell us how you got into this sport. Now, najua ulichekwa.
Si kuchekwa vile, I got into the sport quite young. When we were in primary school, it used to be one of the sports, like the usual sports, football, volleyball, and for the primary kids, we could go from one level to the next. So that is how I was introduced. Although when I went to high school, it was missing. There was a gap there. Then I went to university. Again, I found it there. It was ongoing. There was university leagues. And I proceeded from there. So, yeah.
Which university was it?
Kenyatta University.
KU.
Yeah, KU.
Yeah, we know. It's got a huge sporting culture, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we can talk about their basketball team.
Yeah, playing the national tournament, the league.
In the league, we can, and that's for both men and women. We can talk about their rugby team, Black Blood. So there's a
whole culture of sport at Kenyatta University. So it supports like all the available sports you can find in Kenya. You can find them at Kenyatta University.
Very well. TM Angasa, let's just basically talk about the evolution of this sport here in Kenya. Yes. Netball, because this is where you come in from the administrator's point. The women's sport has been there, that we know. Yeah. But the introduction of the men's sport is where I would like to start.
Thank you, Daniel. About men netball, it's been around for quite a while, only that it has not received the publicity that it deserves. As the assistant captain has pointed out, we've had netball being played at primary level. Now the only challenge was there's a lapse between primary and college where for some reason there is no netball boys in high school.
For the older ones, I mean, you'll be asked, what are you doing there? It's crazy,
yeah.
But
it's a different ball, because you see, in primary there was netball. I'm saying there was because, again, as we speak now, there's no netball boys in primary school. But there's netball men at the universities and club levels. So netball started off as a women's sport.
Yes.
Much the same way other sports start off with a particular agenda. But over time, and out of interest of the men, you notice that if you go around here, you find most of the coaches in Kenya are male.
Very true.
Yes.
It's an oddity.
Yes. And so that's where men came in.
Like him, of course.
I'm talking about match officials, referees and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where men came in now. Because if they are coaching, then they can play it. So netball men has been around for quite a while, from say 2005, 2007. But it's not received the media publicity and all other marketing aspects that it deserves. But yes, netball men has been there. And men have been playing netball at club level. Let me talk about the East African region, for example. We've had club championships being played for quite some time. And in 2014, the title for Club Championship East Africa has been predominantly held by Kenyan teams, namely Kenya Prisons men team. Again, incidentally, where a bulk of our national players come from.
I'm just looking at the squad and it basically looks like...
it's an entire Prisons team.
It's Prisons, Ulinzi and two friends from another club. Actually, no, the women's team. And the men's team is Kenya Prisons.
And Ganek.
And Ganek. And one person from Kakamega.
Yeah.
So that you have somebody from outside Nairobi.
Not really.
Not necessarily.
Okay, but anyway, we'll be coming back to the team, yes.
Okay.
So, 2014.
Yeah, so in 2014, that was the last time we had a Kenyan team holding the East African Club Championship. And then in 2016, there was a first trial, regional, at the continental level that was held in South Africa. And Kenya had a team participating. So that was the first time we are like having netball men being played outside East Africa. And then fast forward in 2021, there was the continental championship held in Pretoria, South Africa. Again, Kenya was there. And we presented a team. We competed well. We matched third.
First and second were...
South Africa
and Uganda. Of course,
we
have South Africa and Uganda.
Yeah.
So Kenya emerged third. Now, this year, thanks to the initiative of the stakeholders and the government, we are presenting a team for ranking matches for men. It's happening for the first time this year in Botswana. Yeah.
And that's your trip this evening?
Yes.
All right. So basically, let's now talk about the sport itself. And just tell us, we'll start with you. What's your playing position is one I'll go for first.
I play goal attack and wing attack. Those are attacking positions in netball. So goal attack, you can score and you have to fetch the ball again to help your goal shooter. And then wing attack, you are the main feeder. You can't score, but you have to make the passes, like the goal assists in football. So most netball players play several positions. You'll find if I'm an attacker, I could go for maybe 2 or 3. You can find again others have an attacking position and a defensive position, which is not very common, but it happens again. Yeah, but generally we have 7 positions, 7 players on court at a time for a team, all the way from the goalkeeping, goal defense, wing defense, center, wing attack, goal attack, and goal shooter. Then we have 5 on the bench.
Okay. Just take us through each of those positions, TM, and the roles. We'll start with the goalkeeper.
So we start with the goalkeeper.
And actually, you
use the abbreviation. Goalkeeper.
You don't have
GK.
a jersey number. You have the position.
Yeah, position number.
Yes.
Start.
So let's start with the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is mandated to man the goal end of the team. His job, his main job or her main job, let me talk about his. We're talking about netball men, yeah?
If we could include the women also. Because, yes,
So the main job of the goalkeeper is to ensure that the goal shooter of the opponent does not make a score. Yeah. Then we have the goal defender. So the goalkeeper marks the goal shooter. Then the goal defender marks the goal attack. So wherever the goal attack goes, the goal shooter goes, the goal defense goes. Wherever the goal shooter goes, the goalkeeper goes. And you notice that in a netball court, we have 3 thirds.
Yes.
Divided. It's a 50 by 100. Ni foroti. Yeah, so
actually, yes, quite interesting. It's a 50 by 100.
It's a 50 by 100. So on that 50 by 100, it has 3 demarcations. We have an area where the goalkeeper goes, the first goal third, and that is where the goal shooter goes. We have the second third, that is the center third, where again we have the goal defense and the goal attack playing in center third and goal third. And then we have the wing attack, who is manned by the wing defense. Like the name suggests, they are wingers. They don't get into the center circle, but their job is to fetch the ball, make sure it moves around and gets to their shooting area, and feed it to the shooters, the goal attacks, and the goal shooters to make the successful shots.
So every time I watch netball, looks like there is some clarity I want. The goalkeeper.
Yes.
Hardly would you may have somebody who is a goal shooter who is what, 6'4", 5.
Yeah, they are tall.
They are tall.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just take a look. Basically, even looking at our team, we know who the tallest is. And we've seen her score.
Yes.
All the time. But let's basically take a look at what are the do's and don'ts of a goalkeeper. Because you see, unlike basketball where you will try and block whoever is shooting, what are the do's and don'ts?
The do's and don'ts in netball. Fine. When netball started, there's this cliche that netball is a game you can play with your mother-in-law because it's a no-contact game. Wait.
Okay.
Actually, it's a no-contact game.
Yeah.
It started off as a no-contact game. So always, at whichever time in the game, there's a distance of 0.9 meters measured on the ground between the attacking player and the defending player. But over time, like other sports, it has evolved, and now contact has not been allowed per se. But we can talk about contest.
You contest for space.
Yes, you contest for the space, you contest for the ball until one of the players gains possession. So once that is done, then the player in possession of the ball is entitled to a space of 0.9 meters round. So one don't is don't contact an opponent once they are in possession of the ball.
That is 3 feet.
Yeah,
yes, 3
that's
feet.
about 3 feet.
Measured on the ground.
Yes, it's about that much.
Yes. The second don't. A player in possession of the ball is not allowed to make more than 2 steps. So we have the landing foot and the pivoting foot. So the landing foot is the foot that steps on the ground first. Immediately you gain possession of the ball if you are airborne. But if you are grounded, you move 1 foot, the foot unmoved is the one considered the landing foot. So no movement with the ball. The other don't is once you have the ball in your hands, then you are not allowed to juggle the ball from one hand to the other. If it moves from one hand to the other, there shouldn't be space. The ball should not leave contact of your body at any time.
So basically you're permanently on 2 hands.
Yes.
Unless
no, you can hold with 1 hand.
You can hold with 1 hand, just as long as you don't throw it to the other hand. If you're changing the hands both in contact first, then you release 1 hand. Both in contact, you release 1 hand. But you can't juggle like this. Throw it to one, throw, no.
So ideally, this is the ball, and I grab it in the air this way. I have to...
Yes, then you can
move it.
Exactly.
Then you release the other hand.
Yes.
How long do you hold on to that ball?
3 seconds.
3 seconds only.
Okay. Now, because you mentioned about the movement, and we've seen some of the videos from the competitions that are there. So this is your pivot foot, this is your landing foot, and this is your pivot foot.
Yes.
So, which, if you need to turn, basically it means it's this way.
No.
Your landing foot is the first one.
Yes.
This is your landing foot. This is your pivot foot.
Yes.
For heaven's sake, this should not move as long as you have the ball.
The landing foot.
The landing foot. So the pivot can go anywhere. Remember, you have 3 seconds to make those moves.
And pass the ball.
Yeah.
Right. Defending. Because it's very interesting. For a long time, I've seen somebody get highest level you can on your toes.
Yeah.
But here, I have seen somebody shooting. Jump.
Yeah, they are layups. So you can do a layup. It's allowed in netball as long as you observe the basic rules. Footwork, the defending space, and then you release the ball within 3 seconds. So you can shoot whichever way, as long as you're using your hands and you're in the goal circle.
Good. A penalty, in case someone commits a foul.
Yes.
A foul is committed when another player infringes the two rules, the contact or an obstruction. That is like a major infringement in netball. And it means you involved somebody with the ball, or at least, even if it's off the ball, but it's considered by the umpire or the match official as a major infringement. So if there is a penalty and you are the infringing player, you can't do anything at that moment. You have to go and stand beside at the position where the infringement occurred until that ball is released from that place. Then you continue playing on.
Very well. Now let's take a look at the local scene and start, because I'm just basically taking a look at the Kenyan team, Prisons. TM, how is it that Prisons, came to dominate this?
Well, Prisons have been in the game for long. That's one for sure. 2, they have had the right sponsorship from the institution, so they are able to get players and have them in camp and have them train, and they go for championships and competitions. See, the biggest challenge that we have in Kenya right now is sponsorship, where we have very many good players out there, very many good players. There's a lot of talent in netball in Kenya. The problem is institutions do not have the muscle to keep these players on court, because you know what it takes to maintain a team. You need to give them upkeep, allowances, commuter, and all this stuff. But I would say that for Prisons, they are a bit fortunate that the Prisons department, where most of those players are employees of the Kenya Prison Services, has been able to sponsor the team. Don't forget, we also have Ulinzi.
Ulinzi, yes.
Yes. So they are the 2 major clubs we have in Kenya. And like I mentioned, it's because of the stability that comes along with the sponsorships they have. We have other clubs that are really struggling to keep pace. We have Homa Bay that have a club. We have Ganek. We have Mathare. We have Vihiga. They have a ladies team. Yeah. We have Kakamega County. We have basically many other institutions. And that is why you realize that netball is in universities. So in the university leagues, almost every other university has a netball team. And now the challenge is funding and having these teams participate in. We have monthly league meets, and they move around the country.
Good. Yeah. I'll be coming to that monthly. Just give a brief about the university scene.
The university scene, netball is played first as under the KUSA Games, the Kenya University Sports Association Games. So we have, if it's the Nairobi region, there is competition. Then you go to Rift Valley, they have universities having the competitions there. The top 2 teams usually proceed to a national competition, and then they get the winner there. Also, they have the KUSA national tournament, where any university team can register to play. And then the East Africa University Games. So that's where most of these universities are competing. But then again, in the National League and tournaments, the same universities, some of them, they are very, they have developed their teams to a level where they can present them to a national competition outside of the school games.
Outside of the university game.
Yes.
The KUSA League.
So that's where you find institutions like KU, just like the Black Bloods playing the rugby series, the Pirates playing the basketball series. So you'll find the Netball Kings there. They're also playing the national series for netball. You'll find universities like University of Eldoret, Masinde Muliro in Kakamega, Chuka University. Most of them, those that have very strong teams, they usually proceed from the university games, then they go to the club games.
Now let's talk about the league scene, because you're doing this monthly.
Yes.
And for some people would say would like to see it more often. More often. Almost a season that's predictable, maybe 9-10 months, like for most sports.
Yes.
Just take us through, ideally, that your league series.
Yeah, in the Netball League, what happens is that a calendar is drawn at the beginning of every year. And in this calendar, the league moves around counties. Like I said, we are looking for ways of promoting netball. So the best way to promote it is to take it to where the people are. And that is why the games are moving across counties. If Nairobi is hosting this month, next month we go to Mombasa. The other month we are going to Machakos. The last league meet we had was in Homa Bay. Before that we had one in Eldoret. And before that we had another one in Kakamega. So it moves around like that to enable grassroots teams, mashinani, to have a feel of what netball is at the national level. But the biggest challenge has always been our teams cannot move and participate in all those league meets because of the financial constraints. But whenever a league meet comes to the county, it's incumbent upon the county office to mobilize and ensure that they invite as many teams as possible from the neighboring counties and within the county and have the game promoted. So that's where we are.
Now, let's talk about this sport, because Kenya is an interesting country.
Yeah.
We play basketball outdoors.
Yes.
On tarmac or concrete.
Yes.
We play handball outdoors.
Yes.
Exactly.
Then I will also, which other sport?
Handball, volleyball, basketball, netball.
Now, we play netball
outdoors.
Even on grass.
Mostly,
not
actually.
Even. Most of the time we are playing netball on grass.
On grass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you don't have to bounce the ball. Good. Now, but netball is an indoor sport. At
international level.
International. I mean, ideally at any level.
Ideally at any level, you should be using.
You should be playing indoor.
Indoor.
On a surface that's
wooden sprung floor.
Good. What's the challenge, for you as an athlete? Let me start with you. When it comes to playing at international level, when you've got to change surface.
Actually, first, let's start with the grass courts. Obviously, when you're using grass courts, there's this danger of injuries.
In fact, we call it clay court.
Because they are not like very level at every venue. You'll definitely find some minor incidences where injuries can occur to the ankles, the knees, and all that. And then when you have to change then that to international level where you're using like an indoor facility, well-maintained wooden sprung floor, sometimes it comes as a surprise to some
that
players.
Culture shock.
You can look at the lights, then boom, you don't even see your players. You just pass the ball anyhow. You're used to the natural lighting, outside. Then suddenly you're indoor somewhere. Then of course, the temperatures are different. You're sweating a lot in an indoor facility. But then most of the time, the adjustment doesn't take that long because at least the federation tries its best. Before a major international event, at least you'll have some training in an indoor facility, albeit not the same quality as where you're going, but something closer to that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we'll be coming back. We're with Kizito Waswa. He is the assistant captain of the men's netball team. That is going, to what simply call it the African Championships.
Yes.
Ideally.
In Botswana.
In Botswana. They're traveling tonight, and we've got Samuel Angasa, who is the team manager. We'll be coming back, gentlemen. But just a reminder that Kenya is hosting the Under-18 Boys Championship, the Sekafa Under-18 Boys Championship in Kisumu and Kakamega. We had the opening weekend, Kenya winning 5-0 in their opening match. They won against Sudan. We saw Rwanda defeat Somalia by a goal to 0 yesterday. Tanzania 1-0 winners over Uganda, and just before that, we saw South Sudan and Zanzibar play. Zanzibar win by a goal to 0. The response to that and the outlook for the other matches that are coming up. Well, Let's get to hear from the General Secretary of Sekafa, Auka Gesheo, who is in conversation with Achola Simon out in Kisumu County.
Fantastic, Daniel Wahome. Indeed, we are in Kisumu County, and as you've rightly put it, Kisumu County and Kakamega County is actually co-hosting this year's Under-18 Sekafa Championship. And of course, so far, so good. The stadiums have been filled to respectable levels, and of course, the skills that have also been displayed have also been great. And I can assure you that, of course, locals will continue streaming in stadiums. That is Jomo Kenyatta Sports, that is in Mamboleo, and of course Buhungu Stadium in Kakamega. But also, as you've rightly put it, is that we'll be talking to the Sekafa Secretary General Auka Gesheo, who is actually going to put us into perspective exactly so far what he's actually seen from the tournament. Welcome, Auka.
Asante sana.
Yes. Kindly tell us so far, what do you make of this particular tournament?
No, very fantastic display of football from the young lads competing. The teams have been very competitive. Fantastic atmosphere. I think it's always amazing coming up country for this kind of tournaments and events. You know, the fans thronging the stadiums. Great support for all the teams that are here. It was fantastic seeing Somali getting such huge support when they played here on the first day. Of course, everyone.
And just talking about Somali, yes, quite a fan base. I saw so many people coming in with pro boxes, and of course from Busia, from Kakamega, and Homa Bay. Did you guys imagine that a team like Somalia can actually have such a fan base?
They've always been crowd pullers wherever they play. I mean, even outside not just in Kenya, even outside the country, in other countries when we have this kind of tournaments, they've always been crowd pullers. They love their football. They always stand up in huge numbers, and fantastic to see that. Not very surprising, to be honest. We expected them to have fans. Very good numbers that turned up to support them. And all the other teams, you know, yesterday playing in Buhungu Stadium in Kakamega, seeing the support that both Uganda and Tanzania had there. I guess also is a passion and a love for football from people of Western Kenya and people of Nyanza generally. But it's been very, the first two days of the competition have been very fantastic from our point.
Does it lend credence to the cliche that football must go back to the grassroots?
Football has always been in the grassroots. I don't think must go back. I don't think that's the correct phrase. I think football has always been a grassroots sport, widely, globally enjoyed by everyone. And yes, I think the people of Kisumu and Kakamega have demonstrated that really they also need to be considered for some of these championships. And I think FKF did a very good thing to then say that let's bring these competitions to this part of the country, and we've not been disappointed so far.
The talent on show, when you look at all teams, and of course I'll have the bias for Kenya. One other interesting thing is that most of these teams have actually had their top talents across the globe coming in to participate in this particular tournament.
I think that lends credence to the fact that this is serious business. We are doing the under-18 in preparation for the AFCON qualifiers next year, which will be under-20. So these are the crop of players who come next year will be eligible to play in the under-20s. And I think, it demonstrates that each and every member association is taking this very seriously. They want to give as much exposure as they can to their respective teams, and importantly, they want to be able to really compete and not just participate in the under-20s qualifiers next year. And not just Kenya, but I think all the teams that are here have picked their top talent irrespective of where they were found, and they brought them here. And I think that shows the seriousness with which all the member associations are taking these competitions.
Picking up from the talent that you've actually seen, is this something that you're probably discussing with member associations, and especially also given the fact that we've seen the enthusiasm that is actually been elicited, especially when secondary school ball games are actually ongoing?
Yeah, listen, I've always said this, especially in Kenya, because I can speak for Kenya, being a Kenyan. You look at the participation, you look at the passion, you look at the kind of vigor and fervor that people have when participating in school games, and even the quality of the competition, the quality of matches that school games in Kenya render themselves to. is really, really something to be very excited about. And I think part of what these competitions do is just to provide that pipeline and that transition from that kind of talent that we see in high school and channel it through coming into club level and continuing to play football up the pipeline, up the value chain, and all the way to the national team. And, you know, we'll be very proud a couple of years later from now seeing these young lads. I mean, if you look at the teams participating, and I'll speak about Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania who are hosting AFCON 2027, and they will therefore be playing in that competition. We see really we'll be very proud to see these young lads, you know, playing in 2027 in that AFCON competition and saying we know where they came from, we know we've participated in their journey to get to the pinnacle of their football.
Fantastic. One good thing that age limit tournaments do is they actually give you an opportunity to follow a player from under 11, under 12, under 15, under 16, under 18, right? And that, of course, weeds out that suspicion of age cheating. What have we done in this particular tournament to ensure that indeed, even as we say that this is under 18, indeed kids who are under the age of 18 that are actually participating in this tournament?
Listen, even at the global level, beyond under 17, we rely on the documentation that is presented to us, and we are doing the same. But you've nailed the nail on the head when you say that these opportunities from when you start playing at the lowest level that you can be able to play gives us an opportunity to then tap into a database that we can be able to see here is player XYZ who we played with at under 15. He's transitioned to under 17, under 18, all the way to the national team. And the lower we can start, the better our database is, the better our statistics are, better information we have in terms of all these players participating in these competitions. And that is our aim, that we can as much as possible go down that value chain to the lowest possible level downstream and be able to capture our players early enough to then be able to transition them through the pipeline all the way. And when it comes to then some of these competitions where age is a factor, we should be able to capture that data properly. But take note of the fact that more often than not, one of the football presidents told me that one of the most inefficient production line he's ever seen is a football player's production line. You tap into a really wide pool at the lower level, and you get very few of them coming through. So we will play our part in as much as possible as we can in terms of deterring some of these suspicions that people have, but and use the means that have been provided to us. And we want to believe that a lot of our football people are good people, and the people they present to us is in the right age group.
Fantastic. Also, as we conclude, the fact that the government, and especially our CS for Sports, Ababu Namwamba, has been very interested in exactly what is happening with our team. I'll talk about Kenyan team, and we've seen actually him doing everything within his means to ensure that they actually fly in players from across the globe. This is something quite encouraging, right?
It is. I will not speak for Kenya in particular, but I mean that's fantastic. Seeing his passion for football, for the national team, for the team that has been presented here. But I think for us as Sekafa, what is very fantastic for us is just seeing the passion he has for these games. You know, he's fully behind us hosting these games. The government is supporting. He's actually turning up and not just supporting the Kenya team, but supporting the tournament itself. And you know, we've been in communication every so often to just, you know, to see what's happening, what can be done better, what can we improve on, and that is very, very encouraging to see that. So big kudos to him.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I am tempted to ask you this question. So far, what you've actually seen.
By saying I don't want to put you
so far, what you've seen. The question then I would ask is that which team do you think is going to make it all the way, and do you think that Kenya will stand a chance?
Early days, to be honest. Kenya were convincing in their first game. They recorded the biggest score of the day, which is very convincing. They have the home ground advantage. They have the 12th and 13th player behind them, which will propel them in this tournament. We wish them all the best. But listen, at age grade level, every team that is participating exactly stands a chance, and we want to wish everyone the best of luck, and hopefully the best team wins.
Fantastic. Of course, that is Auko Gesheo, the Secretary General of SECAFA, putting us into perspective of exactly how SECAFA tournament that is actually ongoing right now in Kisumu and Kakamega County is actually faring on. Of course, talking about broad issues, and of course we'll be keeping an eye on exactly how the tournament will be going on here in Kisumu and Kakamega, and of course you can trust KBC Channel 1 to bring you all the matches live. Back to you, Daniel Wahome.
Thank you very much. Achola Simon is in Kisumu and speaking with the General Secretary of SECAFA, which is a regional governing body for football, and it is about the under-18 Boys Championship that is being hosted in Kisumu and Kakamega counties. Tomorrow we get into match day 2. Remember, at noon, Kenya versus Rwanda. That is slated for KBC Channel 1, and after that we can see Sudan play against Somalia. So those matches that will be live on Y254 from 3 o'clock. So it's that football festival. Can we see another goal fest coming in from the Junior Stars? And Achola Simon definitely will be keeping us appraised on that tournament as it continues in the 2 cities out west. So let's get back to our conversation, and it's about netball and the national men's and women's netball teams. They will be traveling to Botswana for the African Netball Cup. Basically, that's the African Championship. And we are in studio. On my immediate left, Samuel Angasa, who's the team manager, and we've got Kizito Aswa, who's the assistant captain. And also, before we took a break, you spoke about now the surfaces and adaptation. Now, TM.
Yes.
When you encourage, you spoke about how at times you go play indoors, the lights, everything. How do you help now your players adapt? Because they will be playing indoors. When they went down south, I think last year, they played indoors. 2021.
Yeah. So, Daniel, before I answer that, let me take you back a bit. In this issue of the wooden sprung floor, I'm happy to report that Kenya has been awarded a wooden sprung floor, awaiting shipment from South Africa. So possibly in the near future, with the necessary help from the government, we are going to put that behind us, because we shall have the exact facilities that our players are going to interact with when they go for international meets. Talking about how...
Where would it be? Where will it be installed? Where is it going to be set up?
That's purely a government issue. But the federation, the Kenya Netball Federation, is in talks with, of course, the administration is in talks with the government. Because of the shipment costs, the federation cannot incur the shipment costs, so the government has to come in and ensure that, the wooden sprung floor is brought to Kenya. Thereafter, some space will be identified by the government where this facility is going to be put up, so that Kenya now can host some of these continental meets. Now, about encouraging players, of course you have to talk to them during training. The indoor aspect is not going to be a big challenge this time around, because we've been training at the Ulinzi indoor arena.
Yeah.
The only challenge now is going to be the wooden aspect. You have to talk to the players. They have to be alive to the fact that they are going to experience that change. Thankfully, we will have a few minutes to interact with the floor before we take on court for the game. So the few minutes that we shall have, there's already a training schedule for all teams. So like in the event, every team has been given their time when they are going to train. So it's slotted, if Kenya is slotted for between 4 and 5, so during that time, the team has time to interact with the wooden sprung floor. And the short interaction period is very important. Much as athletes may not give the best, because again, these things, it's all about, what do I want to call it?
Familiarity with the court.
Yeah, familiarizing yourself with the court. And again, that culture. We are going to play against South Africans. These guys are always on a wooden sprung floor. They are going to play against Kenyans. Tumezoea nyasi. Sometimes it rains and the matches have to be stopped.
Yes.
Sometimes we go to counties where it's all dusty. There's no grass. So I joked earlier, it's a clay court. We don't even call it a grass court. We call it a clay court.
Maram court.
Yes.
Maram court. Actually, it should be called Maram because now finally we know we have a real clay court at Nairobi Club.
Yes.
For tennis, a real clay court.
Yes.
But Maram.
Maram court.
So it's all about talking to the players, preparing them for that shift from what we are used to what we expect. So that once they are mentally set, there's going to be a change. It's easier to adapt. Thank you.
Well, now let me come to the women's, team. At the moment, we know South Africa, Uganda, Malawi. Those are
the big dogs in Africa.
Now, those are the top teams when it comes to this. But what were the learning lessons from the World Cup qualifiers played in 2022, especially for the Kenyan women team?
The learning lessons, one, exposure makes a big difference. Most of these teams you've mentioned have their players playing pro. They're in Australia, they're in England, and then you look at the structures in those countries. For example, the South African teams, they have secondary school leagues independent of secondary school games. They have a netball league for schools. They have a netball league for universities. They have a netball league for clubs. And that should tell you why they are where they are. You look at our Ugandan neighbors, they're also doing well. And I want to believe we'll get there. We'll get there. It's going to take some time, but looking at where Kenya was a few years ago, from position 112 to position 32 now, world ranking in ladies. We are making baby steps, but gradually we'll be there. So the most important thing is that we need to get our players exposed to current trends in training, in coaching, and then be alive to the fact that netball is an evolving game. It's not, like I told you, it's no longer the game where you can play with your mother-in-law. There is a lot of contest.
Not where I come from.
Where you come from, you don't play games with your mother-in-law.
You don't play games with your mother-in-law.
It's just a euphemic way of saying it's a game where you have your space. That is it. You're not playing games with your mother-in-law, so you have your space, your mother-in-law has the space. But with those evolutionary changes coming in, I want to say that we are not where we were the last time we went out. Every time we interact with teams from outside, we come home with the lessons and areas where we need to improve. Yeah.
Now, the men's scene, just tell us about that.
The men's team?
Tell us the men's scene in Africa, where it is.
Currently, the last time we played against South Africa. Men are good. They are really good. The Ugandans are equally doing well. But as Kenyans, we are in there. We've been regional champions for club championship for a very long time. I think for the last few years, that's when we lost it. We participated in the club championship that was held in Kenya earlier this year. We hosted the East African Club Championship, and we had our teams participating. Like I said, our biggest challenge being there is that lapse in transition. You know, you have to have a baby, being born, see the baby grow, become an adult. But when you have no baby but an adult, then it's a challenge.
All right, that is Samuel Angasa. He's a team manager of the Netball Kenya team. And now, we'll be coming back to them as we come to a close, but let us join Sarafina Robi, who is in Naivasha, and she will be speaking with Alice Ngari, who's the movement building lead of the Africa-led movement to end female genital mutilation. It's called 16 Days of Activism. Over to you, Sarafina.
Indeed, a very good morning, Wahome. We are coming to you live from the Lake Naivasha Resort, whereby we are following up on a 3-day convention that has just kicked off of different civil society organizations that are against the female genital mutilation. And joining me right now is one of the conveners to just tell us more about it so that we get to understand some of the policies that they are advocating for. Karibu Sana, please introduce yourself and tell us what's this convention about.
Thank you so much. My name is Alice Ngari, and I am the movement building lead for the Girl Generation program. We support the Africa-led movement to end FGMC. The 3 days convening that we have is for the civil society organizations in Kenya that have formed a network to end FGMC in Kenya. And the reason we are here today is to join the rest of the world to mark the 16 days of gender activism. So we are here basically with the main objective of just having candid conversations and engaging each other on how we can collaborate more as CSOs, as we also complement or supplement the efforts and the commitments of the government of Kenya in ending FGM and other violence against women and girls.
And what are the prevalence rates right now here in Kenya?
According to the recently released data by the KDHS, we have seen a reduction, and now we are at 15%. In the last survey, we were at 23. So you can see there's a reduction. And for us, as civil society organization who are working in this space, we want to look at this data and see how the landscape look like and what it means for us so that we can put more effort, see what has worked and what has not worked, and see how we can fill in the gap so that when we're doing another survey, we are going to see even a further reduction.
I understand right now the prevalence rates right now are at 15%. And also Kenya is a signatory to some of the international conventions that you've ratified. Are we following them as how we promised, or where are we as a nation right now?
Kenya is very committed to ending FGM, and the government is doing a lot and is also putting a lot of support. The government is also doing a lot of collaboration with us as civil society organizations, and I can say that this is the reason why we are seeing the reduction. Recently, you've had the president himself speaking about, zero tolerance on FGM. So according to me, I think the government is doing what it should, but it can never be enough. Yeah.
And also we expect there are going to be amendments in the FGM Act. What are some of the policies that you look into amending so that this can be made even better so that you can end FGM in the country?
What we may need to look at is the prohibition of the Anti-FGM Act 2011. That is something that maybe we need to engage more with, but of course with the guidance from the government, and we will come in as civil society organizations to support the commitments of the government in this.
Thank you very much, Alice.
Thank you.
Well, as you've heard from her, is that we are continuing. We'll be following up on this 3-day convention that is against FGM to ensure that by 2030, Kenya will have zero rates in terms of the female genital mutilation, and also in collaborations with other stakeholders from different countries, given that there are different stakeholders who are attending this convention. Not only from Kenya, we have members from Somalia, from Ethiopia, from Senegal, who are also against FGM. So we're going to follow up on this to get to understand some of the policies that they'll be able to come up with, and we'll be able to let you know. So back to you, Wahome. I'm Sarafina Robi from the Lake Naivasha Resort.
Thank you very much, Sarafina Robi, speaking at the convention to bring a movement to the end of FGM in Africa. She was speaking with Alice Ngari. Well, almost time for me to leave, and I'll want to finish this conversation about the Africa Netball Cup. And Kenya is traveling tonight. They'll be playing tomorrow in Botswana, both the men's and women's teams. And I've got two from the men's team here. I've got the assistant captain, Kizito Waswa. He's on my far left, and the team manager, Samuel Angasa. So we would like to, give this final, the final word from TM. Yes. What needs to be done to mainstream volleyball? Because you mentioned, especially netball. Because especially when we say men's netball, it used to be there as boys netball in primary school, but now it's Adversities League. What needs to be done?
Thank you, Daniel. A lot needs to be done. One, we need to bring this game back, because if you watch the men play, there's a lot of talent. And like I usually say, sometimes it's all about sniffing an opportunity and going for it. Women's netball is where it is now. And we have women from other countries going pro and earning a living from it. How about it's time we did it for our boys? Secondly, I want to appreciate the ministry, the Minister for Sports, and all other concerned parties for making this possible for us. It wasn't possible, we didn't know we were going, but thanks to the ministry officials, CS Ababu, and all other officials in the office, the federation officials, for working day and night and ensuring that we go out there, expose our men, and we are very hopeful that we are coming back victorious.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Samuel Angasa, TM, Netball Kenya, and the assistant captain of the men's national team, Kizito Waswa. All the best and safe skies.
Thank you very much. Walisema nitume salamu.
Hiyo hatutakubali. Hapo tutakupeleka Radio Taifa utume salamu hapo. Radio Taifa is where you will send salam. But right here, thank you very much. All we can wish you is a safe journey to Botswana and best in the competition.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. Our sign language interpreter has been Anwangeshi. Coming up next is Tamrini and Kurunzi Mashinani. But also know that we've got the Kenya Innovation Week. President William Ruto is going to be officially opening that event at the Edge Convention Center in South Sea. So keep tabs and let's keep viewing KBC Channel 1. Have a good day. I am Daniel Wahome.
The stage is set for a showcase of young talents as Kenya hosts the Sekafa Under-18 Championship from the 25th of November to 8th of December in Kisumu and Kakamega. Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, Somalia, Zanzibar, South Sudan and Uganda are battling for the title in the two-week tournament. The group phase matches are scheduled 25th of November to 1st of December. Then the semi-finals will be played on 5th of December and the final on 8th of December, all in Kisumu. Catch the matches